Manju Kumari, heading the Department of English SF, Nirmala College for Women, Coimbatore. Being sincere, punctual and systematic are the traits of my crystal years in teaching and research. Teaching is my passion, and teaching life through literature is so wonderful because literature gets one started and to pursue life in different perspectives, reflecting life in a better way. With this note, I would like to highlight on the world's great dramatist William Shakespeare and one of his last plays, The Tempest, reflecting the society of the Elizabethan period and his autobiographical elements in this play. William Shakespeare occupies a unique position in world literature. Plays written in the late 16th and the early 17th century for a small repertory theatre, the prophecy of his great contemporary, the poet, the dramatist Ben Jonson, that said that William Shakespeare was not of an age but of all the time, which has proved to be very true. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 to 1616. He is an English poet, a playwright, an actor, and the world's great dramatist. He is England's national poet, known as the Bard of Avon and the Swan of Avon. Shakespeare is a writer of great intellectual rapidity, poetic power, and great perspectiveness, clever with words and images, stimulating imagination and convincing themes and expressions. William Shakespeare has survived the hands of critics and translation into other languages far and wide from England has been very successful. William Shakespeare has written his last play, The Tempest, which has a lot of reflection on the Elizabethan period. The critics has a lot of opinion on the play The Tempest, which was written in 1610 to 1611. The critics says that the play is believed to be completely an original plot, and it seems to have been created out of an amalgamation of sources. It is believed to have been partially inspired by Shakespeare's reading of real life event. The letter written by William Strachey, a writer, dealing the experience of a shipwreck survivor on July 24, 1609, a fleet of 9 English vessels who were a part of the Virginia Company were nearly a new colony of the Bermudas when it ran into a cruel tempest. This is clear parallel lines between William Strachey's letter and the events described in the play The Tempest, the very opening scene. William Shakespeare portrays his characters also similarly representing the Elizabethan period. Another similarity supposed to be believed in the character of Ariel was probably inspired by what the sailors saw after the wreck of the Sea Venture. Ariel is bound to serve the magician Prospero, who rescued him from the tree in which he was imprisoned by the witch Sycorax, who previously inhabited the island. Some critics draw parallel lines of the island play of the London city and the character Prospero in version of William Shakespeare himself, whereas some other critics see the characters of Ariel, Prospero, Caliban as a metaphor for the strained relationship between the Englishmen and the people of other countries, including the imported slaves during the time. Prospero is a man of great power and prestige, ruling the island he lives in, and as the play progresses, one finds Prospero ready to forego his life where his rules and return to a peaceful family life. This is much reflected to the life of William Shakespeare himself. Similarly, Shakespeare quits the stage life after the play The Tempest was written and returns to his family estates in Stratford to live a very peaceful life. Prospero is a man of great power and prestige ruling the island in the play The Tempest, which is similar to our Shakespeare's life. Some other scholars state playTempest is a play of forgiveness, reconciliation, and faith in the future generation. Shakespeare, who quits the stage life after the play The Tempest, returns to his family estates in Stratford to live a peaceful life. Shakespeare's binding farewell to his theatre life and seeking forgiveness and love with his beloved audience is again parallel to the life of Prospero in the play The Tempest. Some other scholars say that the play Tempest reflects more of forgiveness, reconciliation, and faith in the future generation. Magic was a controversial subject during Shakespeare's time, but it is employed in the play Tempest. In Italy, Grandio Bruno, an Italian Dominican friar, philosopher, mathematician, poet, cosmological theorist, and hermetic occultist, was burned at the stake for his supernatural studies. Magic was forbidden and prohibited during the time of Shakespeare. It initiated the study of the supernatural with a rational approach to discover an unusual phenomenon. A German named Hellenius Cornelius Agrippa published his observations on divine magic, and his influence on Englishman Dr. John Dee, who studied supernatural phenomena, helped the researchers of these men similar to the magic of Prospero in the play The Tempest. Shakespeare carefully designed the supernatural events of Prospero to be rational than being occult. This brings a difference between the two characters, Prospero, in contrast to Sycorax, who worshipped evil and indulged in evil activities. Sycorax's magic is said to be destructive and terrible compared to that of Prospero's, whose magic is wonderful and beautiful. Prospero seeks to set things right and through his magic and assures to free Ariel as promised. Shakespeare's play The Tempest. Protagonist Prospero has a control over the people in the island, especially Ariel, Caliban, and many more. Similarly, Shakespeare has a total control over the happenings of the stage, on and off the stage, of his characters. Prospero tells his power from his books, from the mastery of Ariel, the sea fairy, and the lesser degree Caliban. Similarly, Shakespeare approaches and satisfies his audience, both the aristocrats and that of the groundlings. The character Caliban can be compared to the colonized countries where they are under the control of the colonizers. Here the character Caliban is referred to the colonizers. The European conquerors and the colonized countries are similar to that of Prospero's rule and Caliban's slavery. This line from the play, "This island is mine, by Sycorax my mother, which thou takest from me," are the words of Caliban, which shows the connection to the progress of colonization. Miranda, the daughter of Prospero, is very innocent and a noble character. She is a depiction of the truth of civilization. The enchanted paradise as shown in the island reminds one about the life in England, especially Naples, which is to live a peaceful, perfect, and a natural life in England. The representations of the contemporary social development of Europe and the social problems are reflected in the play The Tempest. The major evil that haunted the human mind was the greed of power, money, and gold, and these are depicted by William Shakespeare through the characters of Caliban, Gonzalo, Stefano, Trinculo, and many more. Freedom, justice, domestic equality of all people was the key role to be played in the play The Tempest. The characters Caliban, Gonzalo, Stefano, Trinculo, and many more reflect the lowest class of Elizabethan period. Colonial expansion, the social and moral issues, the developments, the human greed, and the need for reconciliation, forgiveness, and reunion are depicted in the play The Tempest. This is the end of the session on reflecting the society of the Elizabethan period in connection with the play Tempest. Believing this session would have been informative. Thank you.